All right, here we go with another episode of I Will Never Forgive You podcast. I shouldn't laugh at my own jokes. I love the name of this podcast. It's such an anime thing. I will never forgive you. Well, let's get the promotion out of the way. You know about my Patreon. Um, that's about it. I've been seriously debating just getting rid of monetization at YouTube. Let me know. Well, here's what I'm curious about. I don't know. I didn't know where else to ask this. I didn't want to ask this in one random video because my audience is splintered right now. Some people watch one thing, some people watch another. Some people are watching like Bleach, other people are watching One Piece, other people watching Boruto. I don't think any one of these shows reaches everybody. I don't know if this podcast reaches everybody. To be honest with you, but I'm curious about this. How many ads do you get, and when do you get the ads? When you watch one of them, like if you watch a 22-minute anime, when do the ads hit? Do you get an ad at the beginning, and do you get an ad at the end? I have turned off the mid-roll ads. Okay, so I wanted because I didn't want somebody that would really mess up your sync, right? Like you'd have to stop what you're syncing it with, let the ad play, and then come back, and then your sync's gonna be screwed up. So I didn't want to do that. So I didn't have the mid-roll ads ever turned on. But I'm curious, like, if I was to stop monetization, would you stop getting ads at all, or would they still run the ads? It's just they're going to get the ad money instead of me, which I haven't been getting any ad money. I don't get enough views. I've had monetization since I think last December. It may have been November, and I haven't gotten up to $100 yet. And they don't pay you until you get to $100, right? So it seems pointless. Like if people are getting more ads because I have monetization turned on, and I'm making less. I probably will be making like $120 a year or something like that. Maybe it's not worth it. I would rather not make the $120 and people watch less ads, especially if the ads are interfering with your syncing experience. So here's what I want to know: do you remember before monetization how the ads were? How has that changed since monetization? So you have to have been watching me for at least a year to know the answer to this question. So if you can remember back before November, are there more ads now? Is it the same amount of ads, or are there less ads now? Like now, there's no mid roll ads. It'd be worth keeping it turned on if I can prevent them from doing mid roll ads. Like, was there mid roll ads in the middle of my videos back before I got monetization? And I turned that off. And so I'm just curious. Like I can't even check myself because I have YouTube Premium, so I don't get ads, right? And so it's worth the $14 a month to not get the ads, and especially because I screen record stuff off YouTube, I do reactions off YouTube, and I can't be like pausing the shit, and it'd just be really annoying. So it's totally worth the money. So that's my question. Like, what is your experience watching this with the ads? How many do you get? How long are they? What's the deal? So, all right. Well, anyway, we've got that going on, and I bumped into another thing with my Patreon a couple days ago. I was made aware of this problem. I have my video hosting program or website is called Vimeo. It's Vimeo, and which is different than Venmo, which is the money thing, right? So Venmo is Venmo, I think, and then Vimeo with the video is Vimeo. So, but anyways, it's you have an account and you pay them a certain amount of money a year. Right now, I'm paying them $240 a year to be able to upload 20 gig of video per week. I'm allowed 20 gig of video per week, and I knew that there was a maximum cap, but I didn't know what it was. I didn't really think about what that maximum cap was. I just knew that I had 20 gig a week. That's what I had, right? And most weeks I can get up to the 20 gig a week. Sometimes I just don't have enough time to like do the reactions, edit them, export them, upload them, and everything. And so they'll be like, I'll use 16 gig or something. So I don't always use the 20 gig, but I try to max out at 20 gig a week. Okay. Now, for perspective, 1 terabyte is 1,000 gigs. And 1,000 gigs is, okay, think about this. 20 gig a week for 10 weeks is 200 gig. Okay. So 20 gig a week for 10 weeks is 200 gig. And so that would be 50 weeks is 1 terabyte. If I uploaded 20 gig a week for 50 straight weeks, that's 1 terabyte of information. Okay. My all-time lifetime cap for memory is 4 terabytes. I just found this out recently because I had 3.9 terabytes I'd used. And I've been using it for 5 years. So think about it, like 50 weeks is 1 terabyte. And I hadn't been using the maximum 20 every week, right? So, but I've been doing this for, like I said, for 5 years. And I finally have finished my lifetime supply of memory. Because once you get to 4 terabytes, you can't upload anything else without deleting something, right? And it's not like you can start a new account. They stop paying for this account and start a new account, because then you lose that 4 terabytes. You might as well delete the whole thing. And we're talking about, I've uploaded. Here's just a small sample of what I've uploaded. Invincible, Black Mirror, Steins Gate, Jujutsu Kaisen, Made in Abyss, Monster, Watchmen, My Hero Academia, Cladius. It's always not always sunny. Great Teacher Asinka, Only Murders in a Building, Barry, Chainsaw Man, Peaky Blinders, that's 6 seasons. Vinland Saga, Samurai Champloo, The Leftovers, Cowboy Beebop, Succession, Atlanta, Black Mirror, True Detective, Fargo, The Wire, Mr. Robot. Just some of the shows I have uploaded as edited reactions onto this video hosting website. Because here's the thing, this website doesn't block you for content. You could put as much. I could upload an entire movie, like and I realized this when I was looking through it a couple days ago. I had uploaded the entire Nightwalkers movie by accident. I was trying to upload my reaction, and my reaction apparently had the same name as the movie, so I'd upload the entire 2-hour movie, and just found out about it. It's been up there for 4 years. Just found out about it a couple days ago when I was looking through my files. I was like, well, that's dumb, so I deleted it, saved myself some memory, but also that shows you they don't block you for content because it's private. It's a private video. It's not YouTube. You're not putting it out there for public consumption. It's behind a paywall. And so this is just for entertainment purposes. And I've always looked at reactions as like a highlight reel. You know, nobody's going to watch a highlight reel of the Super Bowl instead of watching the Super Bowl. Nobody in the history of the world has watched a reaction to Black Mirror without having watched the Black Mirror first. So they paid for Netflix, they watched Black Mirror, then they watched my reactions to Black Mirror. So it's not stealing content because they've already paid for it. They watched it. So the point is, I can't stop paying for this account. And this account, by the way, is due next month. I got to pay the $240 again next month. So that's going to be lovely. So yeah, one of the reasons I'm talking about all this is so, if you're feeling generous in the heart and want to help support me and keep me afloat with all these expenses and stuff, this is a really good time to jump in. And or just even a donation would be awesome, because like I said, I got the $240 hit coming next month. But regardless of that, there's another reason why I'm bringing this up. So I have to keep paying for my account, which is capped at 4 terabytes. That's all you ever get. You only get 4 terabytes. And like I said, it doesn't do you any good to get a new account because you still have to pay that annual fee for the old account, or they get rid of the 4 terabytes. You lose that 4 terabytes. So it's not even like you can get like a second Gmail account if your Gmail gets full, in essence. So I don't have a choice. I'm going to have to delete some of the old shit. And I've already started doing that. I went in there, I was at 3.9 a couple of days ago. I'm down to 3.6. And remember, 0.1 terabyte is 100 gigs. And I upload 20 gigs a week. So basically what we're talking about for 100 gigs is basically 5 weeks of uploads I just bought myself. Times 3. So basically I just bought myself another 30 weeks of uploads. I could upload 20 gig a week for 30 more weeks just in what I've already deleted. And what I've already deleted was movies I had uploaded in 2000 and 2001. Nobody's watching those anymore. It's been 4 years. And then there were some shows I uploaded in 2000 and 2001 that I just did on my own. Like I had 3 patrons. I was making $8 a month back in 2000. So I had no patrons. I was just doing shit for myself. And then what happened was in 2001, I actually asked people, what do you want me to watch? And they told me, and some of the things they told me was The Wire, Mr. Robot, and Fargo, right? And so I started watching these things, and people started going to my Patreon. It's like, hey, it's amazing. When you do what people actually want you to do, they will pay to see it, right? So I was doing Enterprise and Battlestar Galactica and Doctor Who, things I wanted to see, right? And I'd already seen Battlestar Galactica and Enterprise. It had been a long time. It had been like 10, 15 years. For Enterprise, it had been like 20 years. I think, something like that. So I was rewatching it, but I hadn't watched it in a long time. It was basically, I thought those were popular shows that people would want me to watch, and just, I never got any views on it. Nobody ever signed up for my Patreon to see those things. And they were 5 years old. So I deleted all the Enterprise, all the Doctor Who, all the Battlestar Galactica, and then deleted a bunch of movies from 2000, 2001, And that got me from 3.9 back to 3.6. Okay, so I'm good for now. But this is going to continue to be a problem because in 30 weeks I'm going to be back up to where I was at 3.9. So what I'm going to have to do is delete. I hate to say this. I'm going to have to delete an anime because the anime, especially some of these really long running anime. And what I'm thinking about doing is I have 30 weeks to do this, so it should be seamless. But what I'm thinking about doing is taking one of the anime that was on my Patreon, re-editing it for YouTube, and releasing it on YouTube. So there'll be a version of this that'll be less good because my reactions on Patreon are really good because they're long, and I don't have to cut for content. I don't have to cut other shit, and you get all the video. And like you basically, it's like watching the entire episode in most cases. But so that won't be as good as that. But I will, there'll be some version of this will still exist somewhere. And I have all the old files if I ever had another video hosting website, right? Because I also use Google Drive, but Google Drive has a 200 gig limit. That's it, 200 gig. So it's also not as good for other reasons. But I'm going to take one of these animes, I'll put it on YouTube. So this is my question for you. And especially for the people that you just can't afford it, or maybe you're too young. Like, I don't know how young some of my viewers are. If you're 15 or 16 and you're not allowed to spend money on the internet, but you like watching shit, weigh in, right? Because you're not in a position to, and anybody, even if you just don't have the money, it's fine. Like, people don't have the money, that's fine. You don't have the money. I don't have the money. I would love to support some of my favorite reaction channels out there on their Patreons. I don't have the money to do it, right? So I would love to. So I totally understand if you don't have the money to. That's fine. But you can weigh in here because here's what I'm asking. I'm going to list off some of these anime, and I want to hear from you what you think, which one of those you would like to see on YouTube. And then what I'll do is I'll delete it from my Patreon and transition it to YouTube. So I want you to talk in the comments, basically vote with a comment. I'll list off some of these anime, and you tell me which one you think would be best for YouTube. And I think it'd be probably best to do anime that are finished. Like, for instance, Vinland Saga is one of the ones I've watched over on Patreon. But it's only had 2 seasons, and I think more seasons are coming, so you might as well keep it all in one place, When it comes back, I probably won't have time to edit. This is, like I said, I'm gonna have 30 weeks. It's gonna take me 30 weeks to edit this shit. I may only be able to edit 1 episode a week, right? So it may take more than 30 weeks. I just don't have a whole lot of time. So that's why I'm trying to make this decision now. So, and then there's other things like Fullmetal Alchemist. I already tried to put on YouTube. I tried to edit for YouTube, and the numbers were trash. Nobody wanted to see that. So let's look at some of these others, though. Let me see. We've got Attack on Titan, maybe the one. Maybe Attack on Titan is the one to do for YouTube. But we can listen. We've got Attack on Titan I think is a good option. Let me see. Samurai Champloo is probably too short to make a difference. It's only 26 episodes, but it's a possibility. And then think Kaguya-sama Love is War is probably done. Like, I really wish they would put out another season. It doesn't look like they're going to at this point. That's a possibility. We've got Great Teacher Osinka. And Monster. And that's about it. I feel like I've done more anime than that. But a lot of these don't qualify. Like, for instance, Frieren Beyond Journey's End is coming back. And then Jujutsu Kaisen's coming back. Steins Gate's too short. ViFam is too obscure. I don't think most people have probably never even heard of it. So, in Vinland Saga's coming back, like I said. I've already tried Fullmetal Alchemist. So we're probably talking about either Cowboy Bebop. No, not Cowboy Bebop either, because I tried that, and that didn't get very good views. So we're probably talking about Chainsaw Man's coming back, so that's short. So that's two reasons not to do it. So really, the only good options are Attack on Titan, Samurai Champloo, Kaguya-sama Love is War, Great Teacher Osinka, or Monster. I think are the only good options. So among those, which one of those would you like to see just come to YouTube? Just basically is what we're saying. And for those of you who are already on Patreon, if you haven't watched those, you better go watch those now. And matter of fact, by the way, you can see all of my anime for free for 1 week. Just sign up on my Patreon for free. You get a free 1 week trial. Go there and hurry up and watch one of these. So you can see it there. But like I know a week isn't very long, especially if you're busy and then you have work or school or something like that. So it's hard to get in something like all the episodes of Attack on Titan, for instance. So vote for those. Let me know what you think as far as which one of those should transition to YouTube. Yeah, that's about it for that. I mean, like I said, if you want to help, if you want to donate, if you want to join Patreon, that'd be a massive help. It would help me in both areas. Now, you could ask, well, what if I upgrade to the next level on Vimeo? Because right now, I think I'm at tier 2 or tier 3 of Vimeo. They have a bunch of tiers, right? A bunch of price tiers. I think I'm at 2. I'm definitely at least, I'm not at 1 because I used to be at 1, and that was only 1 terabyte lifetime. And you could only upload, like, I think 5 gig a week. That was not good. That's what I started with. That didn't last very long. Like, so I'm at least on tier 2. The next tier gives you 7 terabytes lifetime. So that would last me for at least another 3 years without me doing anything. But it's a $500 a year price jump above. No, it's not above the 240. I think it's just 500. So yeah, that's what it is. So it's 500 a year. Right now I'm at 240 a year. So basically what it is, it's another $260 price jump above what I would already be paying. Because I'm paying 240 next month. I can upgrade at any time. So like if I pay the 240 next month and then I come into the 260 a couple weeks later, I can just immediately upgrade. That's the other solution. I don't see those kind of donations coming in, but you know, anything could happen, I guess. But yeah, if you want to help, that'd be a great way to help. Maybe we could upgrade and we don't have to worry about it. But otherwise, the way you can help is you can tell me what you think as far as like which one of those anime can come over to YouTube, and yeah, that'll be a win-win. It'll give me memory over on my Vimeo, and maybe it gives me new fans and new viewers, I should say. I don't like the word fan. New viewers. It gives me new viewers and maybe some more attention and you know all that stuff on YouTube. So that could be a win-win. So I kind of like that as a solution. So let me know what you think there. Okay, so that's all the promotion stuff. Oh, there is one other promotion thing. I was going to watch the really bad episode of anime, and that was going to be my anime episode highlight of the week, and that's going to also be my special video for June over on Patreon. Like if you do tier 3 over on Patreon, it's $5 a month. Support the podcast, get early access to the podcast. This particular podcast I'm recording today is not going to be early access. It right now, as I record this moment, as I say these words, it's 5:49 p.m. on Sunday. So, it's been a really busy week. I didn't have anything. I was gone all day yesterday, so I couldn't do it yesterday. And leading up to that, I was really busy. So I just had so much going on. So this was a bad 2 weeks for me. But usually, I do them on Thursday before the Sunday, so you get like 2 or 3 days extra early access. Then you get one special podcast-related thing I do every month. This month, in June, I'm going to be watching a really bad episode. I'm going to be reacting to a really bad episode of anime. So here's my question. I was going to pick X-Arm. It's EX-ARM, with ARM being in caps. Because I ran a poll. And the poll had 30 votes, and 67% of the people who answered the poll said X-Arm is terrible. They said it's the worst. But here's the thing about this. One of the things, I listed 4 options on the poll, right? Death Note was one of them. That's just me being a dick. So really I only had 3 options. I had something called Anakin. I had something called Pupa, P-U-P-A, and then X-Arm. So it's a very limited list. And I was like, is X-Arm really the worst anime out there, or is it just the worst of the 3 I listed, right? We actually had a couple comments here. Christmas Petrodactyl said, from what I heard, my life as Inuka-sama's dog... Oh, wait a minute, okay. My life as Inuka-sans. So it's called My Life as Inuka-sans. Dog dwarfs all of these. So that must be a terrible anime. And then Joseph Joestar said, man, you had it easy. I don't know what he means by that. But had it easy... Maybe he thinks there's a lot of worse anime out there. I haven't seen any of these. I was looking at a list of bad anime. I picked 3 of them, and then I put Death Note on there to be a dick, right? So I haven't seen any of these. So he may have said, "Man, you had it easy thinking I've seen these." Okay, so here's what I'm asking you: what is the worst anime ever made? And don't talk to me about the one where there's a fart. Paul was telling me there's an anime where you're a fart. I'm not watching that. I ain't watching. Maybe that is the worst anime ever made. That's fine. I'm not watching that shit. I want to watch something that's a little bit better. Not even better. A little bit more grounded than that. That's just stupid. I'm not watching anime about a fart. So that probably is the worst. But okay, what's the second worst? Where you're not a fart. You're something else. But what I'm talking about though is just bad quality, right? Like just bad writing, bad voiceover. The bad animation, I'm not as harsh about that shit. For me, it doesn't bother me much. I guess I feel bad for the filmmakers, but they just didn't have the money to have good animation. I kind of feel bad for them, you know. So that doesn't bother me because, like, you know, here's my thing though. You can be broke as hell and still be a good writer. You can be broke as hell and not be a lazy writer. Even more importantly. Like, you only have but so much talent, but like you know, you can tell when the writing is just lazy. These people are lazy. They only wanted to work 5 hours, so they only work 5 hours. That's all they put into the script. That's where I'm really harsh, because you could have put in more hours, you lazy effer, and you know, put in a better writing effort, and the writing be better. So you don't necessarily like. Not every anime has the resources, has access to the kind of money that like other anime have, right? So you might not necessarily be able to, literally may not be able to afford good animation. That's not your problem. Like, I mean, I don't think anybody ever chooses to have bad animation. I think they just didn't have enough money. Maybe the company they picked to do the animation is just terrible and they didn't know that, but then, and it was too late, you had a contract, it was too late to switch, maybe a production schedule, it was too late to switch. Maybe that's possible. I think it's just you didn't have enough money, so I'm not going to hold that against you. But bad writing, I'm holding against you. And in bad voiceover, like, I think you can fire the person and find somebody better or direct them better. And just not be so lazy, you just, oh, whatever. Because here's what I was talking about this with Yusuke, Ghost Files, whatever the show's called. I think the problem there is they didn't have a voiceover director. I think they just had a producer, like a sound engineer. So they brought the actors in there, and they had somebody who could run the soundboard and capture the audio and label the files and then give the files to the editors. But they didn't have a voiceover director in the room. And so the actors were left to their own devices. That's literally what I think happened. I think the actors were left to their own devices. So, you know, it's just, they weren't directed. And so that's just pure laziness. That's incompetence. That's an unacceptable level of incompetence, because there is some voiceover in that Yusuke Ghost Files show that no voiceover director would ever let happen. Like, it is that bad. So, you know, I'm not very forgiving there. So what I'm talking about here when I talk about bad anime, forget animation. I'm talking about bad writing, bad voiceover. And just stupid concepts, or I don't know how we define it any other way. Just, I think bad writing, bad writing, and bad voiceover just covers it, really. So that's what I'm talking about. So give me something, and I want the pilot to be as terrible as possible, because I'm only going to watch the pilot. I'm only going to watch the first episode. That's what we're going to do this month. I'm going to react to a really terrible ass episode. I'm going to do it this week, so comment quick. It's going to be a terrible ass episode of some anime, and then we're going to stick it in. You know, this will be my special video for the month. So that'll be on Patreon at tier 3, and that'll be one of the bonus features. Every month there's something. I think I'm on the 3rd month of doing this now. So this will be the 3rd special video I do. I did Cat Soup. I reacted to the great anime, Cat Soup, last month. And before that, I did a 24-hour vlog of my recording experiences. So let's go ahead and go to comments. I do want to mention one other thing, talking about my Patreon. My stretch goal is to get to 50 members. I have 34 members as of this recording. What should I do to celebrate if I ever hit this milestone? We have a poll. I had 3 options here. And I said other, and I don't think anybody gave me any other ideas. I'll check the comments here in a second, but I don't think they did. One is hate watch a bad anime. We're talking about the whole anime. So we're kind of taking what I was just talking about to the next level. I don't know why I suddenly want to watch a bad anime. I think I want comparison because I've only been watching good anime. Why would somebody pay me to watch a bad anime? They're going to pay me to watch a good anime. But here, I guess if you're become a patron to get me to do this, you're paying me to watch a bad anime. So. But anyway, that was one of the choices. Hate watch Death Note specifically. In other words, finish Death Note. That's the only thing I've ever rage quit because it was effing terrible. And then the other option here was give Last Airbender another chance. I watched the Last Airbender. I didn't hate quit it. I rage quitted Death Note. I didn't rage quit the Last Airbender. It was a thing where it's like I was busy, so I put it off, and suddenly realized I'd put it off for 2 weeks, and then realized I'd put it off for 3 weeks, and at that point I was like, I guess I'm just not that into it, and I just stopped watching. So it's one of those things, kind of like what happens when you just watch stuff. Say there's 5 shows a week you watch, and 1 week you only have time for 4, so then you watch all the ones you like the most, and then the 5th one is you don't like as much as the other 4, so it stays on your TiVo, and then the next week you have your 4 shows again, but now you have 2 episodes of the one you don't like as much. And it's like, well, I don't have time to watch 2. So then you wait, and then before you know it, you've got like 10 sitting there, and you just delete it and take it off your schedule. Because that's what happens, is you get behind, and then you don't feel like catching up, right? So that's what happened last year. It just was so childish. I think it's geared for an age that's just too young for me. I'm okay for the target demographic being 12 to 15. I'm okay with it. I will make fun of some of their tropes. Some of the tropes for the 12 to 15 demographic are pretty funny. I will make fun of them. I will be merciless, but it doesn't annoy me. Last Airbender felt like it was geared for 8 to 10. And they've got fart jokes, and there's occasionally, very rarely, a fart joke or something, in everything, even live action shit geared for adults. But I mean, you can tell the difference between those. Like Kevin Smith had a really great fart joke in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. This woman had gotten through all the different things. She was athletic, and she had broken into a building and had sound equipment so they could hear if a burglar was breaking in. She got through everything. It was about to steal the jewel, and then she farted. And then a sound detector went off, and she got busted. That's hilarious. That's a really solid fart joke. That you can't hate on that, right? That's a really solid fart joke. But the thing is, it's like that's geared for that's not an 8-year-old fart joke. An 8-year-old fart joke is you fart a little bit and everybody giggles. So, okay, if you're 8, that's high comedy. That's hilarious. We're not 8 anymore. So, and that's just one. That's the only thing I remember. There was other really immature shit there. It was clearly obvious to me. It's intended for 8, 9, and 10-year-olds. Like everybody, a lot of people love it. I think they just have nostalgia glasses on. They watched it when they were 8, 9, and 10. Rewatched it when they were 12, and it was still fine because they had watched it the first time when they were 8, 9, and 10. Rewatched it at 15 or 20, and it's fine because they watched it originally at 8, 9, 10. They have nostalgia glasses. And I'm sure it is solid. I'm sure the characterization is really good. That is one thing I noticed about it. The characterization was good. And the world building seemed to be really good. The mythology seemed to be really good. So it's a solid show. It's a well constructed show. We see some care went into it. A lot of attention went into the world building. I'm assuming it's an adaptation of manga where that was even more true. I assume. I'm not sure. Most anime is adapted from a manga, but whatever it is, whoever made it, a lot of thought and care went into it. So I don't think it's a bad show. It's just it felt too young for me, too immature for me. It just wasn't my thing. It'd be like I probably couldn't watch Airwolf and Knight Rider and Flash Gordon and Buck Rogers now. I loved those shows when I was 10 to 12 to 15. I loved those shows. 18, I love those shows, but they're too immature now for me. Also a bygone era, but so yeah, I mean, I don't hate Last Airbender. I could give it another chance. I would have no problem with that. I don't want to have to give Death Note another chance, but let me know if there's like other things I could do. Like I don't know. Let me see what the comments are. I wish there was an all of the above. I'm not doing all of these things. Plus, if I'm watching Death Note, I am watching a bad anime. So that satisfies 2 things at once. So there we go, right? Now, I don't feel that way about Last Airbender. But no, I'm not doing them all. I know that you didn't like the comedy in Avatar. See, that's what we're talking about, right? But trust me, it's a good kid show that can be enjoyed by older audiences. I believe this is Barracuda, by the way. The first one was Trash Can Wafu. I love that name. I love the name Trash Can Wafu. that is really good, solid. That's good. That is really good. But yeah, Barracuda says just good kid show. I do believe that it touches mature topics and does it very well. Very well. I believe it, and I believe it. And I was also told that the really childish comedy is in the first season. If you can get past that, you're fine. I think it was just I just had other shit going on, and I lost track of it, and I didn't get around to it. And then by then, I was 3 weeks behind, and I just said screw it. And nobody really protested at the time either, if I remember right. Maybe a couple people, but not really. So if there had been a lot of pressure to keep going, I would have. Probably. So this is something I might even revisit regardless of what happens on Patreon. I might do it anyway. I don't have to see having time anytime soon. But like if you could think of some other thing I could do that people want me to do that I've never done, maybe more anime movies. I never have time for anime movies. Or something that can attract more patrons so that I can get to my 50 and then, they'll just give me... I put all my money back into business, by the way. So, like I said, like the 240, that's more than that's about the amount I'm making for a full month on Patreon. The 240 I'm about to spend on the video hosting site. So like when you pay for Patreon, you're definitely putting money back into the business. But anyway, I feel like I've been promoting all episode. I'm nothing more about money or Patreon for the rest of this episode. I'm gonna shut the hell up about that shit. Just that was a blow that I found that out the other day. So that was kind of on my mind. Anyway, Ariel says, I feel like you might have a chance at enjoying Death Note if you go into it knowing and just accept that most of the characters are not realistic. I just think that the main genius characters, just think of the main genius characters as JoJo characters, where it's the genius that's exaggerated. That's a very interesting point. Maybe I would feel that way. Ariel said that the same day I was ranting about Death Note on Bleach. I mentioned that to her at the time. But that's possible. Here's the thing. Wouldn't it be wild? All this time, several years I've been talking about how much Death Note sucks ass. If I went back and watched it again and I liked it this time, maybe I was just in a bad mood that year. That's happened. The first 2 times I tried to watch Moulin Rouge, I rage quit. I hated that movie. Hated it. I thought it was one of the worst. I was like, what the hell is this? They're singing pop songs, but they're back here 200 years ago. Kiss my ass, right? I effing hated that movie. Twice. And the only reason I tried it a third time is my girlfriend at the time really wanted to see it with me. She made me watch it, and I actually liked it, and it's not just because she loved it. It wasn't that. It was like, it just hit me the right way the third time. I got what they were trying to do the third time. The first 2 times, I didn't get what they were trying to do. It just seemed stupid. I was just closed-minded. I was in a bad mood. And the first time I tried to watch it with my dad, and we need to be into something. And he didn't like it either, and I was picking up off his energy. The second time was by myself. And so I didn't like it then either, but it couldn't. Maybe I was speeding off what happened with Dad the first time. And the third time I was with somebody who loved it, and maybe the positive energy helped. Who knows? I was in a better mood, whatever, I don't know. But I loved it, Moulin Rouge that third time, and I've loved it ever since. I've rewatched it many times. I just watch clips of it on YouTube every now and then. I love the songs. I listen to the songs in isolation. Great movie. But man, did I hate it the first 2 times I watched it. It would actually legitimately be hilarious if I ended up liking Death Note. That would be, maybe I was just in a bad mood that year. It's possible. It's happened before. So, definitely make that a stretch goal. All right, let me see here. Now, go to the comments. I'm going to the comments for last podcast, 2 weeks ago. All right, Meta Koya. God, I'm terrible with names. I apologize. Meta Koya. I see Nami doing charting stuff in filler. This is when I was talking about, do we ever see Nami actually doing maps anymore? I mean, I don't. But this person says, we see Nami doing charting stuff in filler. Oh, in filler. Okay, that makes sense. I wish Oda enjoyed having more chapters dedicated to just downtime with character interactions. I agree with that 100%. I want to see them on the damn ship, man. What is wrong with the chapter? Just them on the ship. Just 24 pages or whatever's in one issue. One chapter. Them doing shit on a ship between islands. It's always, they leave the island, next chapter, they're at the next island. It could just be 10 short stories. Each short story is a couple pages or whatever of little things that happen on the ship. Just life on the ship. We saw a drawing of the Going Merry. Yeah, the Thousand Sunnies knew it. We saw a drawing of the Going Merry, and it was like, there's a laundry there. And the boys' room was like, there was something funny about. They were making fun of the difference between boys and girls. I can't remember. There's something about girls being more hygienic and cleaner than boys. I don't remember specifically what the joke was in the map, but it was something about how there's a bathroom right there with the girls' bedroom, but not one with the boys' bedroom because they don't take as many showers. So it was something like that. But like, just like, what is laundry day like? On the ship. We sometimes see Sanji preparing meals, but just dinner time conversation, or just when they're dancing or having fun or playing cards or just joking around. Like, we see a little bit of that. We see a little piece of that. But just if it takes 7 days to go from one island to the next? What are those 7 days like? I would like to see that. I just would, man. Like, I think that would be fun. I like that kind of stuff. So I agree with this. Like, that would be something to be nice. I understand the story is already 500 chapters longer than it's supposed to be. I understand. I get it. But that's what I would want. It's one of the reasons I love filler in particular. Like you said, it's more time with the characters you love. I agree. Yeah. They're going off what I said, so of course I'm going to agree with myself. All right. Have I thought about doing manga reviews? That is Platisticius. I know I butchered that. And I said that's an interesting idea. It is an interesting idea. I don't know when I'll have time to read a manga, but that definitely wants to be one. I think you were even, the reason you ever brought this up was I asked for what could I do as special videos for the month. Maybe I can make that my July video. My July video will be reading a manga and then reacting to it. So maybe something that didn't finish, like for instance, The Love Is War that I mentioned earlier. They only adapted about half of the manga, so maybe I can read an issue that happens after that. And I would love to do that. Not that anybody would care, but that could be one. I don't just have to do one manga. I could do like an issue from 4 or 5 different mangas. Each review would only take about 5 minutes or something like that, or I don't know. That's something I could do. I'll do that for next month. That's a good idea. All right, Hunter Stone. I think you should talk about anime obsession with school. Also, talk a bit about the school animes you have watched. Definitely want to do that. I'm going to keep making that one of my show topics. Remind me at the end of this podcast. I'll mention that as one of the topics, and I'll put up a poll in a couple days. So, also, don't forget to, in the comments for this podcast, bring up the fact that what your ideas. What do you think is a good idea for a future main topic? The main topic this week, we'll get into it later. It's going to be pretty spicy, so that ought to be good. Well, yeah, put out your ideas for topics for this one. Another one from Hunter Stone. I've only really watched one long anime series, that being One Piece, so I can't say much. But I can say my favorite English television genre is sitcoms. And I think he goes on to say, most sitcoms are many seasons, and that's how they get us to love the characters. They give us time to love the characters. Also, probably why One Piece is my favorite show of all time. Yeah, I agree with that. Like, just you're spending more time. And also, it's like the rewatchability of sitcoms and One Piece, really, because we're talking about 22-minute chunks. I think the 22-minute thing is key, right? I think if these were hour-long shows, it would be harder to relax. So you come home, you put one on, the 22 minutes you can relax, then you have to start getting dinner ready, or go take a shower, or go start doing your homework, or go start doing laundry or house chores, or your significant other comes home, whatever. Like, typically, you're only going to have, 22 minutes to unwind, and that's all you really need. You just come home and unwind with one thing, right? Or intervals of 22 minutes. Maybe you can do 2, right? But a 50-minute episode is something that's a little bit more than 2, and what if you have to stop halfway through? So I think just the bonding experience, the time, I think, is important. The 22 minutes, and then just the sheer volume, right? I think that's why Grey's Anatomy goes against what I was talking about with time. But I think that's why Grey's Anatomy is so popular. It's how many 21 seasons it is now. Some of these alphabet procedural shows like CSI or NSA or whatever it is have been on for 19, 20, 21 seasons. That's why they've been around so long. They're Law and Order. They're the same shit every week. You like the characters, but the cases is something you can follow and you can predict. Okay, they're evil. They're the one who did it. Whatever, and then we're done. And the characters had some banter and stuff. But there's no overarching story. It's just each one's different, so you can put it on and just have fun and move on to the next one, right? So there's a comfort food aspect to this. I think that's a big part of it, I believe. it's just comfort food. So, that's one level at which you can enjoy this. But unlike the sitcoms and the NCSIs and the Meredith Grey or whatever the hell that show's called, unlike those things, One Piece has a deeper overarching story that has got mysteries you can sink your teeth into. That's why I think, for me, One Piece is elevated above all this other shit. So it's because you have something extra you can sink your teeth into if you want to. Now, there are people who watch this by themselves and don't go online and don't have comments, who can just enjoy the show on a surface level. They don't remember Joy Boy was mentioned before. They don't remember Sun God shit, or somebody had a Sun God tattoo back in episode 500, or Islam, or whatever hell the secret leader of the world is. They don't remember he was introduced in episode 600, but we've never seen his face, and they show his feet one time in episode 800, and then he talks in episode 1000. They don't remember that shit. They're just enjoying it week to week. And if the anime hits you over the head with the fact, okay, this person is important, like Daffy, for instance, they probably didn't notice Daffy the first few times, but then you kept getting brought up, and kept hitting it over the head. Okay, yeah, I remember who he is, right? I don't need the internet message board or Reddit or somebody else to tell me. Now it finally sunk in. If you're watching it by yourself, right? But you don't have to. You can just enjoy One Piece on a surface level, or you can really sink your teeth into it, do a super deep dive on all the various aspects, all the minutia, and all the background Easter eggs and all this shit. You can do that, right, if you want to. So this show can be appreciated on 15 different levels. That's one of the many things I love about this show, is you can enjoy it at whatever level you want to. This is also Hunter. The most recent season of My Hero Academia was the best season of the entire show. So I have high hopes for the final season. I agree. Like, 100%. Like, that show is slaps. I react to it over on Patreon, by the way. Free trial. Go there. I wasn't going to talk about this anymore. Never mind. Great show. I love it. Also, Hunter Stone, that's too much good shit. Oh, there's too much good shit. That's too much good shit. There's too much good shit. That was one of where I was reading the article. That was so annoying. What I get from the article saying oversaturation of seasonal releases is that most of the stuff is probably garbage and the other 10% is good, but I don't know. Yeah, pretty much. That was a trash article. I hated it so much. It was annoying. And that's what they want. They're intentionally annoying. They will put Joe Montana and Jerry Rice as the 5th best quarterback receiver combo, and put some recent people higher, just so that the football fans will get mad and rant about it on Reddit and rant about it on Blue Sky, and the article will be trending, and a bunch of more people go read the article so they can get mad. It's on purpose. These things are done on purpose. It's just rage bait. I've never liked rage bait. If I do say something that pisses you off and that makes you watch more, okay, great. But you can't make a living off that. You can have a spike in your watching, in the viewers. You can get a spike in viewers with that once, but you can't make a living off that. Just be yourself. Just say what you actually effing think. If people like it or don't like it, a lot of people don't like it. If you like something they don't like, or you don't, especially if you don't like something that they do like, or you don't see something the same way as them, man, they would get so mad and they'll be really, really annoyed and offended for some reason. That's inevitable. There's nothing you can do about that. That's going to happen anyway. Just let that happen. Don't do it on purpose. Don't try to do it on purpose. Then you look like an idiot and an insincere nitwit on top of it. That's what this article was. And yet, I still let it get to me. Even though I knew what they were doing, I still let them get to me because it was so damn annoying. So it works. The reason I do it is it works. God, that was irritating. Also, Hunter Stone, I think 13 episodes is a good season length. I also miss mid-season finales. Yeah, I do, because mid-season finales would be so, especially Stargate SG-1 or Stargate Atlantis. Mid-season finales. People be getting messed up, man. They be getting jacked the hell up. You will get messed up, and then we got to wait 6 months to find out what happened to you. The best mid-season finale I've ever seen, or was it? No, I think it was a season finale, was Stargate SG-1, the end of season 9. The Ori come through the portal, and Earth is waiting there with about 3 battleships, and you have like a bunch of Janai ships, or whatever they were called. There was a gang of criminals who had some spaceships. So they were there. And then you had one of the, what were the gray aliens called? Thor and them. I forget what the name of that race was. You had them there, so they were there. So it was a good collection of ships, and it was like a bunch of high-tech ships, and there's a bunch of people from all over the place. And they were all there waiting for the Ori ships to come through so they could kick the Ori's ass. And 4 Ori ships came through, and they just mopped the floor. They wiped them out, crushed them, just beat their asses, just beat their ass like it was Saturday and they had messed up. I'm just saying, man. Like, just beat the hell out, spanked that ass, and just obliterated the entire Allied fleet. And Samantha Carter was outside of the fleet. She was like in a spacesuit where the portal was. And then they come to the portal. So she's stranded out there. And she has to sit there in her spacesuit in the dead of space and watch her Allied fleet get destroyed. And here's the thing. I'm getting emotional just thinking about it. Damn. It's been 15 years since that episode came out. I'm getting emotional. That's how good it was. She had to watch her people get killed. And also with the knowledge, by the way, that if they're all dead, so am I, because I'm sitting out there in a spaceship and I don't have a space. I'm in a spacesuit and I don't have a spaceship. So she had to personally witness her people get their asses kicked. God, I'm still thinking, man, that was very powerful. That was really good. Hey, a true finale, tell you, man, it really kicks. But yeah, they had a lot of good mid-season finales as well. But as far as season length, obviously it depends what you're trying to do, but like, I don't like the 8 episodes. Last of Us Season 2 only had 7, and now they're talking about they may need 2 more seasons to tell the full story. Then just have 9 or 10 episodes this season, man. What are you doing with this 7 shit? Like, it's just, they're milking the shit at that point. They're getting their little mid-season finale. They're going to have 2 mid-season finales. One story's going to take 3 seasons to tell. Kiss my ass. So, yeah, they're on my shit list. 13 would be a good number. All right, Kill Code. I think I finally got it on one try this time. Kill Code says, also, let me, I think I'm going to read this first comment first. Because I'm reading in reverse order this time. Last time I read it oldest to newest, and this time I'm reading newest to oldest. So it's kind of screwed me up a little bit here. First of all, his first comment. He or she, I'm actually not sure. Their first comment is, about Cat Soup. The series was originally created by Japanese name I have no hope of pronouncing. It's kind of a cute, a lot of these Japanese, just the spelling makes them sound cute. I have no idea how to pronounce them. But the spelling of the first name is Chiyomi. I mean, that sounds like a cute name. I just don't know how to spell it. Don't know how to pronounce it. Her husband, a manga artist, really liked a sketch of a cat she drew and wanted to make a series about it with her. She did most of the writing, and he did most of the art. Most of the works were pretty similar in premise to the anime adaptation he watched, and it was pretty popular in Japan during the 90s. I can see why. Unfortunately, she took her own life at 31. God damn. 31 too, man. Jesus. With a note saying, forget I ever lived. I don't need a grave, and don't talk about why I died. Jesus Christ. I bring this up because I definitely feel a strong sense of nihilism coming from her works. Yeah, no shit. Holy shit. Like, I think I'm morbid and nihilistic. I have a death video. If I die before July 1st, you'll see what it says. What it is. I'm pretty sarcastic in it. It's over a year since I made it. It may be time to make a new one soon, but like it was rough. I had to get drunk to do it. Anyway, so yeah, nihilism is going. Cynicism for sure. Cynicism definitely. I don't know about nihilism, but definitely cynicism. A cruel world with senseless violence and an uncaring God. Yeah, wow. Maybe you should have watched more Looney Tunes, man. Like, you need to laugh more. Yeah, life sucks. We live in a sorry-ass world. I'm depressed a lot, but I can always find the humor in things, and that's a really good coping mechanism. That's what she needed. It's too bad. It always, when you hear a story like this, it always makes you wish you could have talked to the person. Now, pretty goddamn arrogant to think that I could have talked her out of taking her own life. Like, that's arrogant as hell. But call me arrogant, because I would love to try. Because I would just 5 give me a 5-minute pitch. Like, can you find the humor in this? Like, there was something there. Like, in the anime, there was a sense of humor you could have tapped into there. And we don't know what else. There could have been, like, health issues going on. We don't know. Like, we have no idea. But, there could have been other things happening as well, right? So, I'm just saying, if it was just pure nihilism and that's why it happened, I think you could try to talk somebody out of that. Like, if that's what it was. But again, arrogant, I just want to help. Most scenes in Cat Soup OVA are about suffering with it without reason. Jesus Christ, man. Senseless. Oh, scenarios play out with no connections or purpose. In the end, the cat brings her sister back to life and goes back home. But everybody dies eventually. One by one, they disappear, returning to nothingness. Lovely. I also thought your comment on being inside the mind of a child interesting because children are taught morals. They didn't come in, the morals don't come innately to kids. That's true. Kids will do some really cruel things because they don't know this cruel. Absolutely. Yeah, that is true. Man, she was living in a dark world. I hate it. I hate that she was going through that, man. Especially when you're creative. Because I feel like, also another thing too, is when you're creative, I feel like you have more tools at your disposal to claw your way out of the depression. Again, call me crazy. Sylvia Plath exists, right? Like, and so do a bunch of other people who are creative. But I just feel like you have more tools. Non-creative people, they have one less tool in the toolbox, I think. So, although I do personally believe everybody's creative in some kind of way, somewhere. Like, if you're good at woodworking, you're creative. So, I don't know. I mean, maybe everybody's creative. Now, this is the second comment. Also, I don't know where you got the... Oh, wait a minute, never mind. Okay, so this is D4C. The pacing issues in JoJo you are experiencing are from the anime adapting 152 manga chapters into 30 plus episodes without really cutting anything out. Part 4 crams 174 chapters into 48 episodes. Part 5, 155 chapters into 48 again. And Part 6, 158 chapters into 38 episodes. The Bleach training scenes were tight Kubo's excuse to wax poetic. No shit. Like, boy, there'd be some poetry going on in that shit, man. Like, calm the hell down, write a blog, and leave us out of it. That's how I feel about it. Going so far as to write pieces of poetry before every volume. Get used to them because not only do they not go anywhere, but in fact they will get longer with time. I don't know, man. I love Bleach. I love the characters. I don't know how many more of these long-ass, interminably long training scenes I could actually take. Alright, Ruji has the next comment. It's really long, way too long for me to read it all. But it's from 2 weeks ago. It's the last podcast. Go check it out. It's really interesting. Let me find a piece of it to read here. Okay, here's a really good part. I'm going to read some of his... he had a rebuttal for each one of the 10 things I listed from that article. So let's do a couple of these. But you should definitely go read the full comment because it's really good. Number 6, over-reliance on ISK tropes. I kind of agree. The trope is basically you pick a main character from the normal world and put him or her into a brand new fantasy magical world or some kind of world that isn't our own and see what happens. I feel similar about this as I did with the zombie shows and movies that were a thing back then. So basically it's a premise, it's a genre, and they just do too many of them. I can see that. I can see, because I would be like, there was a time when I was like, there's too many vampire shows. There's always been too many cop shows and lawyer shows and doctor shows. Just, what the hell is wrong with normal people? Normal people would be watching the hell out of that shit, man. It's just too much. But yeah, so that's what that means. Excessive fan service in inappropriate places. Personally, I don't really mind it. I've seen so much anime at this point that it just doesn't even register anymore. Probably my favorite comment of the podcast because I've seen so many tits and asses swinging in our faces from so many different anime that it doesn't even look like it's anymore. It's like, hey, can you move your big fat ass so I can see the action over here? There's a fight going on in the background. And she's shaking her ass in her jogging suit in front of you. It's like, hey, can you move your fat ass? I'm trying to... And you don't even register that as something sexy. Okay. Yeah, I get that. I'll probably get to that point, too. It's egregious. The hell are you doing? Like, it's just... I might could dig it if it was live action. Who doesn't want to see a live action ass? Of either gender. You know, like, either one. Whatever gender, right? Like, you know... I know there's more than two, but like it's whatever's going on. Who doesn't want to see a live action ass? I think we all do, but it's egregious. There's no context or purpose to it. Just get the ass out of our face. And then the other one more thing I'll read from his long comment. Like I said, go back and check it out. It's really good. Weak female characters in otherwise complex shows. Yeah, this does happen quite a bit. A lot of anime is shonen, young teens and boys, oriented through which makes sense why the female cast sometimes just doesn't seem as complex or thought as their male counterparts. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It's interesting that they focus on a gender rather than just age. For me, when I was doing demographics, I would just care about the age. I didn't care about the genders, right? It's just make it broad enough for everybody to enjoy it, and then focus on the age, right? And the age is just okay. How complex are we gonna make the story? How graphic are we gonna make the action and the language? And then that's about it. You just want to make sure that if you're targeting it to 13 to 15 or whatever, 13 to 16 is your target goal. It can appeal to either side, but that's your target. Don't make it where you alienate them with your concepts or your language or something, right? Like, if you're talking about quantum physics, a 13-year-old just isn't going to be able to grasp that. They haven't had the math and the science, and they haven't read the books and seen this shit that like goes into quantum physics or whatever it could be. It could be something else, meteorology. I don't know. So it's going to be boring to them. So don't do it, right? So that's what I'm saying. So you'd focus on the demographic, 13 to 16. Who gives a shit, male, female? Like, why does that matter? Like, so I don't understand why they're so honed in that not only is it a certain age, but it's also a gender. Because they also, there's another one where it's targeted to girls, right? It's like teenage girls. There's another kind of anime that's targeted for that. I don't know why it can't be both. I don't know why they're so specialized. But maybe it's because they have 30,000 anime. You could be specialized. I don't know. Yeah, great comment. Last three comments are from Ariel. Let's see here. Nominations for eventual One Piece replacement. Ayuasha. I've never heard of that show ever. Fairy Tail. I haven't watched more than you, but I'd be willing to put some support to it and watch with you. So I really liked it. I watched. I think it was either one or two episodes of Fairy Tail. I really liked it. I liked the characters. I liked the world, the mythology. It just seemed interesting. It's only one episode, but it seemed interesting. I would love to go back and check that out. And Black Clover. Yeah, people keep talking about Black Clover. Every 2 months, somebody mentions Black Clover to me. What the hell is Black Clover? I don't want to look it up. But man, it's back. It's like back. People used to always talk about Bleach to me. Bleach, and I just would keep thinking of laundry. Every time they mention Bleach, I think of laundry, but like I didn't know anything about it, right? So it's the same with Black Clover. It sounds interesting. It's a name I can remember. I can pronounce it, which is always good. If I can pronounce the name, that's really good. But I don't. It makes me want to watch it. Like, so just because people keep talking about it. In fact, if Black Clover doesn't win a poll, I plan to sponsor it. So hey, there we go. I'm gonna be checking it out soon. That ought to be good. I'm not sure why more people aren't watching or thinking about it. Man, you're making it sound really dope. Though I guess part of it is we haven't seen new episodes in a few years. I believe it used to run every week, much like One Piece, but was halted because catching up with the manga, and maybe they just stopped at that point, and slowed down due to the author's health. I'll see videos every now and then claiming a new season is coming, but it never happens. Just like with Kaguya-sama, Love is War. Every now and then I'll see somebody talking about it on Reddit. Hey, it's coming back. You lying bitches. It ain't coming back. Yeah, so I definitely want to check that out. Next comment. It's been so long that I don't really remember much, but back in the day, my son and I were reading the Harry Potter books, then watching the corresponding movies. I do remember the one that was the most miffed about because of how much was being left out was Order of the Phoenix. It felt like it should have been two movies like they did with Deathly Hallows. Yeah. That was the last one I watched. I didn't watch the 6 and 7. I stopped watching at 5. The third was terrible, and every time somebody says third is their favorite Harry Potter movie, I get pissed off. And I just pull the ripcord on the conversation because it's very annoying that could be your favorite movie when it's my least favorite. Hey, like I said, people don't like it when you don't like something that they like, right? So I don't like it that they like something I don't like. So there we are. I'm the same as you. Anyway, They just did a terrible job. Isekai. Isekai. I knew Ariel would have the answer to this, by the way. Ariel knows everything. Isekai is a genre of anime involving a character being transported to another, usually magical world. Ayahuasca, whatever the hell that show is. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Yes, I do remember. The female main character travels to the past through a well. Sword Art Online is another. That's a real show. Sword Art Online. The other world being online. Okay, so they go into the internet. Okay. Sword Art Online. They go to the internet. How the hell does that work? That sounds interesting. But most of them involve the main character dying and being reincarnated somewhere fantastical. A lot of titles start with reincarnated as. I don't think you've watched any yet, other than in episode 2 of Inuyasha. I wonder, does Yu Yu Hasegawa, whatever the show's called, does that count as this? Because he dies, he comes back, and he spends most of his time in the demon world. When's the last time we've seen him go to school? 30 episodes? Has it been 30 episodes since we've seen him go to school? This tournament's been taking for effing ever, man. My God, it's just, what a bloated story arc. So that's been taking forever. So, even though he occasionally comes back and spends a little bit of time on Earth, it feels like this could qualify. This could be that kind of story where they spend so much time in some other place. Bleach could also be that way, although we've actually seen them in Bleach spend time on Earth every couple dozen episodes, right? So that I don't think qualifies as much, but Yu Yu does feel like it does. All right, well that's all the comments there. I think that'll do it. Jesus. We're an hour deep and I'm just getting done with comments. Well, one of the things we're going to be doing here is I'm going to be skipping the other animation category for this episode, and I'll do a double shot next time. It'll be a really long one. Because what it is, I really wanted to finish Castlevania Nocturne before I recorded this. That's one of the reasons I waited, among how busy I was. But I just never had the time. Like, here I am. It's now past 6:30. I'm supposed to drop this episode at 9 o'clock. I was going to watch it today even, and then I could immediately talk about it. I just don't have time. So I'm not going to do other animation for this episode. I'm going to finish the Castlevania, and when I finish Castlevania in a couple days from now, I'll record it just for that. It'll be one of my pre-recorded segments for the next podcast. I'm going to go into detail about the entire franchise and what I think, generally speaking, of that, and then the whole thing, and it'll be a big picture thing. That should be a pretty long segment. So we're skipping it this time. So this will be a little bit shorter just because we're skipping one of our segments. All right, well, let's go into our anime episode highlight after the break. All right, next up is our anime episode highlight. We're going to be talking about Gentama episode 7. Now, the series as a whole, I dropped this episode today. I recorded today, and it's out, available today. You should be watching along with me. It's a great show. It's very funny. The thing is, like, I don't like fourth wall breaks. I don't like meta commentary. I don't like it when an anime knows it's an anime. I've never liked Deadpool and She-Hulk being aware that they're cartoons and comics. It's just, what are we getting out of that? Like, for me, when I watch a story, I like to be immersed in the story. Okay, I can get immersed in the story and forget that I'm not watching something that really happened. To me, any entertainment I watch, even if it's animated, while I'm watching it, it feels real. It feels like it's really happening. Sometimes I'll nitpick because it feels like it's really happening. I'm not like, oh, but it's just a show. What do we care? So I hate when I'm thrown out of that with some meta-textual shit, right? Some fourth wall breaks. Every now and then, especially for comedies, fourth wall can be okay. And typically fourth wall breaks are comedy. Is there a fourth wall breaking show that's not a comedy? Let me think about that. I don't think so. But I hate it because, like, what are we saying here? Like, for instance, She-Hulk. Let's just use She-Hulk or Daredevil, or not Daredevil, Deadpool. Deadpool is an example. Okay, so he's a cartoon. He's a comic who knows he's a comic. He knows he's in a comic. But we know he's just lines on a paper. If we're just saying you're a comic, you're just lines on a paper. You're not sentient. You're not saying anything. You're static. It's a static image. So for you to turn to the audience and be like, hey, I'm really just a comic page. Yeah, we know that. So then you're just a comic page. So like, what are we doing there? Like, what are we doing with that, right? Like, it's for me, it's only fun if we pretend what's happening in the comic is real, right? Like turning to the audience and be like, hey, look, I'm on a piece of paper. I'm just lines on a page on a piece of paper. It doesn't do anything for me. It's not funny. It can be funny. There's very specific use cases where I've seen it happen, and it's hilarious. It's absolutely fun. I talk about Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back. There's 2 times where they look at the audience, and both times they're funny. So it's like, one time I think it was Ben Affleck talking about doing projects just for the money, and he turns and looks at the audience. Clearly, it's a joke. He wasn't doing Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back for the money, because I doubt he got paid very much. But that shit's funny. And Jay and Silent Bob I never really got immersed in those stories, to be honest with you. There was always something about the Kevin Smith movie that never felt realistic, that I just never got immersed. So I guess that's probably what it is. The more immersed I am, the more irritating it is when they break the fourth wall. Not very immersed in a Kevin Smith movie, not very irritated when they break the fourth wall. So that's really the connection, right? So I said all that to say this. This show breaks the fourth wall, but I'm not really immersed in the show, so it doesn't bother me. And I didn't realize until I started talking out loud. I was going to question, when I started talking about this, the reason I was highlighting this, I was going to question, why does this fourth wall break not bother me? I was going to ask that question. But I think I've discovered what the answer to that question is. The fourth wall break doesn't bother me because I'm not immersed in the show. I don't feel like this is a real world. I don't feel like it's a real situation. We're following real characters. It's goofy as hell. The world building doesn't really make any sense, and I'm not really grasping what's actually happened. There's just a bunch of random shit that happens. I don't really understand the relationship of the characters and how they interact with each other and how the world works. And there's an alien invasion, but it's like they're cooperating with the governments instead of taking over So it all kind of doesn't make sense. So I'm not really immersed, but I don't think the show wants you to be super immersed. I think the show just wants to have fun. It wants to have the little jokes and be fun, and it is a lot of fun. And they do have their jokes. And the fourth wall breaks are pretty funny. Like, they were doing a Saga sale, and at the beginning of this particular episode, they said, screw it. The audience isn't going to follow what we're saying anyway, so we're not doing it anymore. And then the next episode, they do a parody of Cops. The where a news crew or camera crew will follow around cops and supposedly see what they're doing on a daily basis, right? So, Anyway, hilarious show. And they're making fun of anime, and I looked up when it started. It started in 2005, and so anime had been good for about 10 years. From 95 to 2005, anime had been really good, and it had been solid. And some tropes were developing, and it was taking itself seriously, and a lot of people were enjoying it, and the viewership was really high. And it was about time for somebody to come along and take a piss all over all that, to pull their pants down. It's basically, imagine a bunch of people are doing Shakespeare on stage, and you get some goofball stoner come out there and pull their pants down when they're saying the Shakespeare lines. To be or not to be. Damn, somebody just pulled my pants down, right? That's kind of what this show is. Gentama is pulling the pants down of super serious, well-made, good, popular anime action shows. So they're making fun of One Piece, they're making fun of Naruto, and they're making Bleach might have been out then. They're definitely making fun of Bleach more than maybe even the others. Making fun of Yu Yu. They're making fun of all these really good, well-made, taking themselves a little too seriously anime that were popular, and they're doing it with a smile on their face. That's what this show is. And this episode specifically was about they're trying to get an octopus. And the other part is the 3 characters are so dumb that they're just they can't get out of their own way. And they are always causing more trouble for themselves because they're just so stupid. 3 of them are trapped in a jar, and they're all trying to pull out at the same time. If 2 of them would stop and let the third pull out, they would have gotten out. But no, all 3 of them are going to pull out at the same time because they're fucking idiots. They're just stupid, man. So, it's hilarious. It's absolutely, I was dying laughing. And the dialogue is really sharp. I was just dying laughing. It's a really funny show. You should check it out. called Gintama, I think is the name of it. Uh, Gintama. So it's on my channel. So I've got some reactions. You just watch along as far as I've gotten and see what you think. Let me know what you think. But that episode really epitomized everything. Plus, they broke the fourth wall twice, right? It really epitomized everything, and it made me question, well, I hate fourth wall breaking so much. Why do I love this show? And the answer why I love this show is, like I said, it's because I'm not immersed in it. But I don't have to be immersed in everything. And I'm not. Like, there's shit I watch I'm not immersed in. But I would say 95% of the shit I watch, I'm immersed. I feel like I'm there. I feel like it's real. And I relate to and interact with it as if it was real. So I hate the moonlighting shit, the fourth wall breaks, really, is what we're talking about here. But unless I'm not immersed. So that's where we're at. All right, well, let's go ahead and get into the main topic. Inadvertent anime lessons. Well, first of all, I'm not sure. Let me go to the comments for that. That was the one thing I was going to try to remember. I knew I was saving comments for something, and I just realized that's what it is. Yeah, here it is. It was, I ran a poll. And unintentional lessons learned from anime won with 48% of the other things were reading and reacting to some source manga for anime. That was second place, actually. We'll put that as a topic again. But I think I'm probably going to do that next episode, next month, as my monthly episode. We'll just have to wait and see. And then the other choices were anime's obsession with school. That only got 4%. And a deep dive into One Piece's Wano arc. So, but looking at the comments here. Andy's saying Berserk and Hunter x Hunter's manga go far past where the animes did. The only problem is it's been a long time since I've watched either one of those. So then, well, I'll remember. That's a good point. So, Alice said unintentional lessons in anime seems like the most fascinating. Although I don't know how you're going to approach that considering authorial intent isn't always clear. That's a good point. I think reading manga would be great on a monthly Patreon podcast video. That was Hunter Stone. That's probably what I'm probably going to do that next month. We'll see. We'll see. I would change my mind a lot, but like that'll probably be July's special video for Patreon. Ruju says, I have to agree. The unintentional lesson seems interesting to think about. Anime's obsession with schools you could very easily chalk up to a big chunk of the demographic of anime being teens in school. But obviously, there's more to it But obviously, there is more to this, I would guess. Well, yeah, but also like, it's funny because, for instance, in Buffy, they were at school for the first 3 years. How many times do we see them in class? Only when it was relevant. You know, most of the time when we see them in school, it would be in the library because that's where they were doing the exposition scenes with Giles, right? They wouldn't typically just be going class to class. I say that, but I mean, there were plenty of scenes in the class. But it just wasn't that much. Vampire Diaries, very rarely were they in class. Usually they would be in school after hours having fights in the school. I don't know why. Like, they must have had access to a school location and it was just easy to shoot in. And maybe it was like a school that had closed down or something. Because, man, they were in that school a lot, but it was almost never when class was in session. It was always after hours. So it's like they had access to the building, but they didn't want to have to pay a bunch of extras. Because that's the thing. When you do a school scene in live action, you have to pay a shit ton of extras just to hang around, walk around, and be in the background, and be in classes, be in the cafeteria, be on the school grounds. That shit costs money and it takes time. So you would much rather be a different location. So in live action, it makes sense they're not around the school. So maybe I'm talking against myself. But I don't know. There's probably is something more to it, but we won't have that conversation here because we'll save it for a main topic of the podcast if that ever happens. Doesn't seem like there's a huge amount of interest in that. But here's the thing. Here's what's interesting. Alice brought up authorial intent, and then Ruju said it would be interesting. I don't know if anybody got what I was actually saying here. What I was saying was kind of it was basically a joke. It's kind of like, you know, the 100 lessons I learned from Star Wars. You know, try or try not. There is no can't or whatever Yoda said. I can't remember what it was. But, you know, do or do not. There is no try. So there are people in the world who take that to heart and make that one of their life lessons, even though it's just a line of dialogue in a movie. But I'm not even really talking about that. I'm more talking about the fact that, like, you could, you know, if you say that, if you're watching a ghost movie and people are being haunted by ghosts, why are the characters never happy that ghosts exist, right? Like, I could see you not being happy that vampires or werewolves exist because they're going to rip you to shreds and drink you like a Capri Sun. So I understand that. You understand why you're not happy that vampires and werewolves exist. I understand why you're not happy that aliens exist, because they're going to anal probe you mercilessly, right? Nobody wants that. But why wouldn't you be happy that ghosts exist? Even if ghosts are haunting you, or even, maybe not necessarily killing you, but the ghosts are haunting the hell out of you, right? Like, get out. And you just paid a shit ton of money for your house. But you can't live there because the ghost just won't leave you alone. It should still make you happy. Because you know what that means? If ghosts exist, something exists after death. The afterlife exists. Probably heaven and hell. Like, if ghosts are real, we stick around after we die. So I personally believe after we die, there's nothingness, there's blackness. We just go, there is no heaven or hell, there's no afterlife. I could be persuaded to believe that resurrection is a thing, like, not resurrection, reincarnation. That we go into another baby and, our spirit exists in another baby or something. But then I would have to ask the question, we started with 10,000 humans 10,000 years ago, and now we have 7.5 billion people on the planet. Where did all the new souls come from? So are you telling me there's still only the 10,000 souls going around and the rest of them people don't have souls? Or what are we doing here? Like, I don't know. Right? So if reincarnation exists, where did the new souls come from? Because every generation, there are more people that live on Earth than have ever lived on Earth before. New souls. All at the same time alive. But we're not really here to talk about afterlife, but I'm just saying, if a ghost is haunting you, that just proved to you that something exists after death. Like, some part of your soul exists, and if it can exist as a ghost in your face talking about, get the hell out of my house, it can also exist in some other way. So after you die, something happens. You stick around. Maybe you haunt people, maybe you scare people, maybe you go to heaven, maybe you go to hell, maybe you go to limbo, whatever. Maybe you go into another body. I don't know. But ghosts proved that the afterlife, yes, that should make you happy, right? So that's an unintentional lesson from a movie or a story, right? Nobody who's writing a ghost story intends for you to be happy because the afterlife exists. It's just a form of monster. It's like demons and werewolves and vampires and, mummies and Frankensteins and aliens. Just another thing to rip you to shreds and scare you, right? But there's an unintended consequence. There's an unintended thing that whatever the authorial intent was, there's something I can take from this that we know they didn't mean. No author sitting there writing a ghost story talking about, hey, be happy that you have a afterlife now, right? That's where I was going with this. And I think that people they thought I meant something else. So then that kind of left me with I was in a weird place. I was like, okay, that being the case, what the hell do I do with this as a main topic? I was just going to make a bunch of jokes, where I was going to be like, animes do this, so this is what we can take from it. I was going to be jokey and all this stuff and just make some quips and move on, right? Because I didn't think it would win. I don't always think any of these. I'll stick to any poll result. If I put it on the poll, I will do it if it wins. But there's some of these, like, I didn't think the school thing was going to win either. It got 4%. So some of these, it's like, well, I've got two things I know I feel really good about. If they win, I'm in good shape. And then there's this one, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. And then that happened to be the case in this case. The unintended lessons. I hadn't really thought about it that much. I thought it was mostly a joke thing, right? Like I said. But a funny thing happened after it won the poll. I started thinking about it seriously. And something really stuck out to me that I want to talk about. It was going to be, I was going to do a bunch of different things. So in other words, the topic kind of morphed. But I was going to do a bunch of like different things that I don't think anime intends, but what it is saying these things. And maybe we can do a part 2 and part 3 to this series. We can do this as a series because this first thing is going to take up the entire segment. Because I have a lot to say about this. The inadvertent anime lesson I want to talk about today is anime thinks that the only way a woman can be strong is to be aggressive and violent. And I don't think that they really I don't think that they intend that. And I could be wrong. Or maybe they just, it's a misogynistic view in the culture. I don't want to sit here and say all Japanese are misogynistic. I mean, like, they have cultural pressures and cultural pressures shift over time. I think a woman's experience in Japan in 2025 is different than a woman's experience in Japan in 1975. I do believe that, right? So things change over time. And we know that it was a very gender role specific culture back in the day, and probably is not as much anymore. I think there's just more freedom in general in Japan than there was 20, 30, 40 years ago, culturally speaking. Less cultural pressure. There's less. It's less static. I think people can just break out of the mold a little bit more without all the peer pressure. But I do think that even now, even anime that are being made today, think about the anime you've seen. I'm thinking about the anime I've seen. And anytime they want a woman to be strong, they make her violent. That's the only way they know how to show a woman's strength. But it's not just Japan, because I actually did some research for this topic. And I looked up, there's a various lists of the strongest fictional female characters that exist, right? And so there's various websites. There's Variety, there's People, there's IMDb has a list of the strongest female characters. There's a bunch of them, right? So I took an agglomeration of these various places. And some names appeared in the top 10 lists over and over and over again. So these are the top 5 names that appeared in multiple lists across the internet. You can do your own research if you want to. But these are what the internet as a collective whole considers, and not just Japan, the internet as a collective whole considers to be the strongest female characters we've had, I guess, since movies and TV shows, right? Specifically. I don't think anime was in consideration. There's no anime characters here. And most of these characters are at least 30 to 40 years old, I think. The most recent one is the bride from the Kill Bill 1 and 2. And that movie is, 10, 15 years old? Is it 20 years old? No, Pulp Fiction was 96. That was 29 years ago. So, it's possible Kill Bill was 20 years ago. Jesus, I didn't realize it was that old. I think it could be actually 20 years old. Anyway, that's the most recent character. But here's the 5 strongest female characters according to the internet. Wonder Woman, Ellen Ripley from the Alien series, Sarah Connor from the Terminator series, The Bride, Kill Bill 1 and 2, and Princess Leia. 4 of those 5 women are kick-ass, badass, stomp you out, violent characters. Now, not overtly violent, except maybe Wonder Woman. Now, Wonder Woman, and of course The Bride, right? I haven't actually seen the Kill Bill movies, but I have no interest in seeing them. It's just long story. We won't get into it. But as far as Ellen Ripley and Sarah Connor, they're defending themselves. They just don't want to be killed. The Terminator wants to kill Sarah Connor. Now, here's the thing: she's only violent like that in the second movie, and then she was in the Sarah Connor Chronicles TV series. She was violent there, but this was set after the second movie. And then, I think she was in Dark Fate, but I never saw that. I don't know if she was in Genesis. I never saw that either. But she wasn't, of course, in Salvation. Her voice was, but she wasn't. So, the first movie, she was a damsel in distress. So that's kind of an interesting case, right? Where, she's a damsel in distress, but she was so strong, and she was the one who ended up killing the Terminator at the end, right? So she found a reservoir of strength to defend herself. That's kind of a different category than what Sarah Connor can be violent, and in the second movie, she's kind of a psycho. That's not really what we're talking about, though. We're talking about women who are just super violent, like the Bride and Wonder Woman. And I'm not saying Wonder Woman's evil, but she is violent. She will kick your ass, and she will be the aggressor, right? Just like all these anime characters who are female characters who will kick your ass. So, Sarah Connor is an interesting choice. Ellen Ripley is an interesting choice because she started out same way as Sarah Connor, where she's just, not really strong, not really violent, but will defend herself, will do whatever it takes to defend herself. She showed that in the first movie. In the second movie, she really showed it. Third movie, I've only seen once. It sucked ass. I never watched it again, but I assume she was pretty violent in that one, as I remember it. Then she died. The fourth movie, I actually really liked. Was it called Resurrection? Aliens Resurrection? I really liked that movie. I liked the fact that they brought her back, and she was kind of a psycho. She was kind of creepy. they had put alien DNA in her, so she's like a human alien hybrid, and she just had an edge to her that I really liked. I really like that movie, that Terminator. I know a lot of people don't. I know this is a very unpopular take. I like that movie a lot. There's other actors I really like. Winona Ryder, I like her, and then we have what's his face, Hellboy, whatever the hell his name, the guy who's in Sons of Anarchy, and he also played Hellboy. He's in it. I've always liked him. So they got some charismatic actors, and then you had Ellen Ripley being a psycho. So she kind of shifted over the various movies, right? But violent, aggressive, kick-ass, strength through violence. Even the people who defend themselves, strength through violence. Wonder Woman, Ellen Ripley, Sarah Connor, the Bride. Now, the fifth person on this list, Princess Leia, not as much. Now, one of the first times we see her, she takes a blaster and is shooting the stormtroopers. And then she's saying, well, somebody get this walking carpet out of my way. So she's definitely got an edge to her, and she can be violent. But there's so much more to Princess Leia than that. She can be soft. She's tough, minded, resourceful, very smart, can outwit you. Probably the smartest character in the franchise, at least those first three movies. So she doesn't really fit the mold of the other four. And she's more or less the kind of character, the strong female type I like, and what I think is a more realistic depiction of a strong woman, right? Because women just don't have the physical gifts to be as violent as men do. Men are just designed from the ground up to be violent. And by nature and by cultural programming and whatever, social brainwashing, whatever you want to say, they're encouraged to be more violent and solve their problems through violence than women are. And women have to solve their problems through negotiation just because of the mere physicality of the situation, right? So what I think of as a strong woman is not what I think of as a strong man. Anime seems to only think a woman, if they want a woman to be strong, she will kick your ass. She will just shove your face into a wall. She'll kick you in the nuts and stomp you out. And almost every anime I've ever watched, the women beat up the men. Especially if it's your sister, you're getting your ass whipped. Like, I did a poll about this recently. Like, main characters who have a sister, their sister will whip their ass. They say one thing wrong, she'll become a rage monster and just stomp them out. Or they're fighters. And then there'll be some of the baddest ass fighters we got, right? And anime just thinks that violence means strength and aggression is power, right? I have my own list of who I think are some of the strongest female characters that I've seen depictions of. And I'm interested in what you think as well, right? So we've talked about Wonder Woman, Ellen Ripley, Sarah Connor, the Bride, and Princess Leia. I don't mind those. I like those characters. I don't hate any of them, but here, anime would like those characters on their teams because, for the most part, they're just violence, and that's their strength is through aggression. Here are some people that I think are strong female characters. First, we have Fred from Angel. Think about that as opposed to Buffy. Now, obviously, Buffy is a strong female character. She's strong in a lot of ways, but she's also super violent. And one of the things I don't like about Buffy is she hits every other friend or family member she has at least once, except for her mother. She never hits her mother. But she hits Giles, she hits Xander, she hits Willow, she hits Dawn, she hits Angel, she hits Spike, she hits Riley. The only character, and we're talking about anger, we're talking about domestic violence ass situations. When she gets angry, she just hits people. That's what she does. So she's an abuser, and she has the power, and of course she's written by an asshole, misogynist, dickhead, Joss Whedon. So not surprising, right? But I mean, there were other writers too, and those are really good writers. But so Buffy is strong. She's strong emotionally. She's supportive, and she will sacrifice herself for other people. Those are her strengths. But she has power through aggression. It's power through violence, essentially. She would fit right in with an anime. Fred wouldn't fit right with an anime because she's not going to beat anybody. She's skinny as hell. She can use a crossbow. Most of the time she'll hit the wrong person. Typically, I don't think, maybe she killed a couple of vampires over the course of the 3 seasons she was on Angel. But for the most part, her strength came through her ability to navigate the social arena. Her social game was a 10 out of 10. She's really good at navigating the social arena and getting people to get along with each other and work together. And then she's also had the scientific brain. She understood physics and quantum physics and wormhole physics, shit like that. So she was doing that. She can get into a little bit of the magic stuff because I guess that kind of fits side to side with wormholes and quantum physics and all that shit. I'm very comfortable believing if you can understand quantum physics and wormhole physics, you could probably understand magic, right? They feel like the kind of same woo-woo shit, right? So she is strong through her brain, which strong women in real life that's how they're going to be strong for the most part. Like, yes, there are women who are in MMA, there are women bodybuilders, there are women who can do karate and all that shit. And, would I want to fight a female MMA player or whatever they're called, athlete? No. There are women who play football. It's flag football, but they're stocky as hell, right? There are women who play soccer who could kick my ass. So that's fine, but what I'm talking about in real life, the really strong people, strong character, strong willpower, strong intellect, strong abilities to manipulate the people around them. That is also strength. Like, we talk about Buffy. One thing Buffy did, she sacrificed herself for somebody she loved. That is strength. How many times have we seen male characters do that in anime? Yeah, and we consider them strong. We don't typically see that with the female characters, for the most part. A female character will try to sacrifice herself, and then a male character will be like, no. I'm the man. I'll do the sacrifice. So it's almost like anime is saying, women, kick your ass, shove your face through a wall, strength. Men, sacrifice themselves for somebody they love, strength. And also men, this is a whole other thing we can talk about sometime. The stereotype in anime where like the main character has to win everything at all times, or he has to curl up in a ball and cry in a corner because he failed. If he doesn't win every single encounter, every single time, he failed. Everything sucks, and he cries himself to sleep. So that's, I guess, male strength. I don't know. All right, Simmons in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is another one, as opposed to Quake. You have Quake in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. What was their slave name? Dawn? I don't remember, but there was something they called her something in the first couple seasons, and she started calling herself Quake. So that's what I'm going to call her. So she has like the earthquake powers. She can throw you across a room, throw you out a window, kick your ass. They called her the destroyer of worlds. Like she could literally crack the planet like an egg. Doesn't get any more powerful than that, right? So she's super powered. Strong female character. She'd be right at home in anime. Anime would love her. Anime wouldn't love Simmons, but Simmons, I think, is just as strong. There were times Simmons was by herself and had to rely on herself to get out of sticky situations. She's no damsel in distress. Tough, resilient, but also, again, very smart, brainiac, scientist. Another one of these, like, physics, magic type, science brain, galaxy brain type people, right? Super smart. That's going to be a trend you're going to notice here. But, because the intellect is a definite form of strength, and we don't see that enough in anime. Most anime characters are dumbasses. And I think that's because we're talking about 13 to 15. There are no galaxy brain, super smart 13 to 15-year-olds. They may grow into super intelligent people when they're 25, but when they're 13, they're a moron. So they can only relate to moronic characters. So most anime characters are dumb as hell. So we got that going on, right? But anyway, so Simmons, super smart, strength. These are, and a lot of times these will be some of the most popular characters. It's funny, it's because I think this is another Whedon show, actually. So it's another one of these like super skinny girls that can't really fight very much. Every now and then you see her use a gun. For the most part, she has to use her wits, her intellect, her ability to manipulate people and situations to get out of things, and then her ability to innovate and invent things, tools and stuff like that to help her win situations. So she's Fred from Angel and Simmons from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. are two very strong female characters that are not just going around kicking people's asses all over the place. So, all right, another one is Samantha Carter. I was talking about her earlier, Stargate SG-1. She is always coming up with solutions. She thinks outside the box. She's another one of these scientific galaxy brain types. Super smart. But also, unlike the others, she's probably more of a fighter than the rest of them. She can definitely kick your ass. Basically, she'll shoot you. She has a machine pistol. She's a soldier, right? She will shoot you, but more often than not, the way they would use her is she would be using her science. She would come up with scientific solutions. She'll use her ability to think outside the box and come up with this shit and invent something to fix the problem, whatever it is. But she's one of the most sarcastic characters I've ever seen. Man, she is a huge, huge smartass. So she will definitely be a smartass. She catch you lacking. If you say something out the way, she will be a smartass so fast, man. It's just one of my favorite characters ever. Strong, right? Strong female character. Does a little bit more fighting than everybody else, but not really this fighting more like anybody can do this, right? Like, now she's good at this. She has a good aim, right? She's done the training. She's done the calisthenics and the cardio and stuff like that. And she run up a hill and then do this and post up and then shoot the hell out of you. But more of a scientist, strong female character. She's not going to sit there and beat your ass with a billy club, right? She's not Abby from Last of Us, who will not be on this list, by the way. All right, now this one's going to surprise you. You probably won't even know who the hell this is. Natalie. Okay, who the hell is Natalie? Well, she was a bartender in Memento. Now, I'm not going to spoil the plot for you. I'm just going to say that we're talking about a person who was brilliant at manipulating situations, diagnosing a situation. She diagnosed a situation in seconds flat, figured out how to manipulate the situation, tested her theory, realized her theory was correct, and then began to manipulate the situation to get what she wanted, which was revenge. And she did that in the space of about 10 minutes. And then she followed through with it, by the way. So she followed through with it. It required some personal sacrifice on her part, including beating herself up to win the narrative. So like I said, I'm not going to spoil it because it's a great movie. You should go check it out. But if you've seen the movie, you know exactly what I mean. Strong female character. She's not a scientist. She doesn't know how to use a machine gun, but super strong, and she's basically a villain, for the most part. But you understand her motivations. Super strong, and can she use her wits, her intellect, and her ability to manipulate people in situations to get what she wants. Strong character. Doesn't just have to be punching somebody's face through a wall. I don't know why anime is obsessed, or just has the belief the only way a woman can be strong is to be violent. But I'm showing you there are characters who are super strong who aren't violent, or at least mostly not. Now, final one on the list, Scully from X-Files. This one, yes, she has FBI training. She can shoot you. She can fight. I don't know if we saw her fight very much, but she can fight. But intellect, not really a scientist. Now she is a doctor, so she has some medical abilities. She can run some medical tests and run some diagnostics and do some shit like that. But not really. She's not going to invent a device to time travel, for instance. But one of the things I really like is that she maintained her faith despite so much evidence against it through the course of a series. If you watch the first 9 seasons, she starts out with a stick up her ass. Everything can be explained by science, God, but except for God. She believes in God, but she also believes in science. What the hell is that about? Contradiction. And so she, Mulder and Scully, Mulder's a believer, she's a cynic. They bounce off each other very well. But if you take her in isolation, we're just talking about somebody who believes in what she can see and what she can prove. And over the course of the series, was open-minded enough to expand her beliefs and to accept that there's more happening out there than what she can prove. And that shows strength of character. She's also just super strong of character, willpower, and has a lot of compassion. And that's another thing I think gets lost when you have characters be super violent. You can't shove your brother's head through a window because he called you old, and then make us feel like you have any compassion as a human being. You can't do that. Like, those two things cannot coexist. And strong female characters to me are people who have compassion and can tell you maybe there's a better way. Maybe we don't need violence. Maybe we can solve this some other way. Because that's what women have to do, because women can't just beat themselves out of every situation. They can't just kill or beat up anybody that stands in their way. They have to think of other solutions. Think outside the box. You just want to win the situation. You don't necessarily need to dominate everything in sight. You just want to win the situation. What is it you want? Maybe you want groceries. Maybe you want the time travel device. Maybe you want the potion. Maybe you want the necklace. Whatever it is, Yes, you can kill everybody in the room and get the necklace, or you can talk the person out of the necklace. In both cases, you get the necklace. One of them is a hell of a lot simpler and has maybe less lasting consequences if you can talk them out of it and they're okay with that, rather than just killing everybody in the room. So, Scully to me is like probably the strongest female character I've ever seen. Now, her and Samantha Carter probably had the most screen time of what we're talking about. Fred was in 3 seasons. Simmons was in 7 seasons. Samantha Carter was in 10 seasons, right? And then she was also in a season of Stargate Atlantis, right? So that's 11 seasons total plus a couple movies. Scully is in 11 seasons, counting the 2 revival seasons. She's also in 2 movies. A lot of screen time. And pretty consistent characterization throughout. So those are examples of like strong female characters that just don't have to rely on aggression and violence to be considered strong. And I will say this, I appreciate the sentiment of anime where they don't want weak female characters. The only thing a woman is good for is to be a damsel in distress. And they have no personality outside of liking a boy. I do like the fact anime wants to do more than that. Can we do more than that? Like, you know, there are some shows, animes, and movies where the woman is literally just there to say, "Ooh, he's hot. Okay, now come save me." That's the only job they have in the movie or the story. So, fortunately, you don't always see that in anime. Now, there is one example I can think of a strong female character in an anime. One that I've seen, that I can remember. There could be more, but who was not violent, but is a strong female character, and that's Inoue or whatever her name is from Bleach, the blondish, reddish type. You know, she has certain powers that can attack people. Typically, she doesn't. She focuses on healing people and defending defense shields. So she's trying to protect people, and she's trying to help and heal people. And she has a strong personality. And she's not like a wilting, you know, weak ass, no willpower having ass, like, you know, character just crying and, you know, shivering and indecisive. She will decisively and compassionately sacrifice herself for other people. And like I said, her focus is on defending people and on healing people. Strong female character without being violent. I really like that. She's one of my favorite characters for that reason. The rare female anime character who's not just some juggernaut or a damsel in distress or a rage monster. A lot of them are just rage monsters, right? Like, they're just so furious. How dare you say I have a hair out of place? Let me shove your face into the microwave, right? What the hell is wrong with you people, man? So, that's where I come out on that. Like, I don't think anime wants us, yes, we can't really know what their intent, the author intent is. I understand that. But I just don't think they intend for us to believe that the only way a woman can be strong is by being a violent, aggressive rage monster. That's just the way it played out. I don't think they intend that. So that is an inadvertent lesson from anime. Now, I would like to do this as a randomly reoccurring series, like maybe once every couple months, because I think there's other things we can do with this, other inadvertent lessons we can do a deep dive on. This is the one that actually bothers me the most, but there's, like I said, there's others. And I'll be more prepared next time because I only had a week to prepare for this. But, like, yeah, this is something I think is a major problem. And it'll be interesting to see, because I'm watching Jujutsu Kaisen, and there are a lot of interesting female characters in that show. I've seen 2 seasons. I'm thinking back. I'm looking through the Rolodex of the female characters they got. Most of them, I think there's nuance there. Yes, most of them have powers and can attack you. Another one is My Hero Academia, by the way. Most of them have powers there and can attack you as well. I think My Hero Academia and Jujutsu Kaisen have more nuance than what I've been talking about. They have characters who are strong female characters, but are not just violent rage monsters or just juggernauts, right? I'm trying to think. Gravity Girl. You've got Gravity Girl. You got Frog Girl. They can fight. But yeah, I think they have more nuance. Yeah, I think we're trending away from what I'm talking about. But I don't think I've seen enough modern anime to be sure. Because, for instance, Chainsaw Man I saw, that's all you got there. You got the psychotic, that's nothing, the psychos, right? They're also, strong female characters are psychotic. So you got the site, and don't get me wrong, I laugh at these characters all the time. I think they're fun. I just would like to see something else, right? But yeah, Chainsaw Man is modern, and you basically just have psychotic rage monsters there. Juggernauts, right? That's the other one I've seen that's recent. That is modern. So let me know what you think. Alright, now, like I said, we're going to skip the other animation category this time, and we'll pick that up next time. So that takes us down to Hot Take. And this one I bumped up against when I was looking into some stuff about the live action One Piece. I'm trying to find it where I can get it with the Japanese voices, because I heard that the Japanese voiceover for the anime is doing the Japanese voiceover for the live action. I would watch it if I can get that. I'm not going to watch it otherwise, because the voices just don't work for me. I'm used to the anime, so what can I do? But anyway, I was kind of looking at that, and I kept bumping into people talking about, well, why do they need this cash grab? Why is this necessary? And then you find this in other things, like, for instance, why is the Harry Potter TV series necessary? Why was the Wheel of Time TV series necessary? Why was the Percy Jackson TV series necessary? And it's just, stop asking if entertainment's necessary. Like, it's just, can you just effing stop it? Because here's the thing, nothing is necessary. Nothing is effing necessary. I wish I hadn't already used my F-bomb. I would definitely drop it right here. Nothing is effing necessary. We're just trying to entertain ourselves. I'm trying to distract myself for 2 hours, take myself away from my miserable ass failure of a life, take some attention away from this sorry ass world we're dwelling in. All the crap that's going on right now. The Colts suck. The Colts have sucked since Peyton Manning retired, or since he left the team, which is 2012. This is effing 2025. The Colts have sucked for 13 years, man. I'm tired of the Colts sucking. That's just one of my problems. At least the Pacers are kind of playing well right now. I mean, they're about to tip off as I speak, but I'll be busy working, so can't watch it. Anyway, I want to put on something I can watch for 3 hours instead of watching the Colts get blown out tonight. Instead of looking at my finances. Can I watch something that distracts me? Do you mind? Do you mind if I watch something to distract myself from my shitty life? Do you mind? Right? Like, it seems like you do mind, because you're asking why this shit is necessary. It's necessary because somebody wants to effing watch it. That's why it's necessary. What do you mean, why is it necessary? What are we talking about? You think this shit is like War and Peace? Is this shit... Are we talking about Citizen Kane here? Are we talking about, like, Dr. Zhivago? What are some of the best books ever written? Like, what are we talking about here, man? Are we talking about the, like, works of art? You think this shit is Michelangelo? This shit is something that can distract us for a couple hours, or in the case of One Piece, for a couple thousand hours. That's all it is, man. Like, it's just, none of it's necessary. The first Terminator movie wasn't necessary. What do you think? You think the first Terminator movie was necessary? Well, the 8th one is also necessary. It's just as necessary or unnecessary as the first one was. Like, am I going to watch the 8th one? Hell no. It's going to suck ass. But people should be allowed to watch it if they want to. It's such a highbrow, I eat caviar and you eat McDonald's ass take is what that is. Like, I'm better than you. I only let the best, the tip-top champagne of entertainment pass through my eyeballs, right? Like, I'm highbrow. I'm high class. I'm better than you. I only watch the best of the best. None of this shit matters. None of it is any more or less necessary than anything else. Like, I just don't understand this attitude. Why is a Percy Jackson reboot series necessary? Because somebody wants to effing watch it. That's why. Like, it's just... I mean, I think this goes back to people just want to control each other, and I don't understand why. I've never wanted to control anybody. It sounds exhausting to try to control people. I don't know why you'd want to do that. So, because they'll say shit like, for instance, the second Dumb and Dumber movie ruined the first one. Just don't watch it. Just burn the CD or the DVD or whatever, right? Delete it from your iPad. It's like, just watch the first one. The second movie didn't break into your house and steal your DVD of the first movie. Your first movie's still sitting up there, right? physical media, am I right? So it didn't ruin anything. Like just watch the first one and forget the second one ever existed. If other people want to see a third one and want to enjoy it, just don't watch it. You know why I didn't watch a Man of Steel? Because I heard Man of Steel sucked ass. And I would rather watch the Christopher Reeves movies. So I do. I've never seen Man of Steel. Because I don't want to watch a Superman that sucks ass. It's simple, man. It's not that difficult. We're not talking about rocket science here. So I don't understand this is it necessary, is it not necessary crap. Like, are you trying to control people? If one person wants to watch it, it's necessary. Like, it's just some highbrow, highfalutin, farting through silk ass shit is what that is. Like, it's just, I don't get it, man. If you can think of a reason why, like, if a profit-seeking company thinks they can make money off of it, which is all any of this is, no Hollywood movie has ever been made without somebody thinking they'll make money off it. That's why it's necessary. Miss Marvel or whatever, the Marvels, you have an all-female cast, and Critical Drinker don't like the fact that it's an all-female cast. Maybe people want to see that. If it's an all-female Ghostbusters cast and the movie sucks ass, which it did, then it bombs at the box office and the studio loses money. I still don't know why you're mad about it. Like, why are you mad that women's Ghostbusters sucked ass? Or existed? You're mad it existed. I'm mad it sucked ass. So, we're not the same. I'm just saying, It was effing terrible. But it wasn't terrible because of women. It was terrible because the writers sucked ass and should be executed. I guess not literally, but I'm just saying. Like, that movie blew chunks. But it wasn't because it was women. It blew chunks because it blew chunks. So, Anyway, I haven't seen the Marvels. I think that's what it's called. The female Marvel movie, right? That everybody's so mad about, right? It's necessary if one person wants to watch it. So, Madam Web apparently is really terrible. People said that is really bad. Kind of makes me want to see it, just see how bad it is. But I'm too busy to waste my time watching shit. So, anyway, I just find it annoying. I don't know why you care about something being made that you have no intention of watching. Like I was talking about before, Grey's Anatomy is entering its 5,000th season. It's been on for 35 years. I will never watch Grey's Anatomy. I've never seen 1 second of Grey's Anatomy. I never will see 1 second of Grey's Anatomy. Why would I care that they're coming out with a 35th season? Why would I care? Do I think it's stupid? Yes. Do I think people need to move on and find something else to watch? You're darn right I do. But I don't care. Watch it. Have fun. It's necessary because somebody wants to see it. I don't understand the gatekeeping is all I'm saying. Anyway, that's the hot take. Let me know what you think. And for the last thing we're going to do today, other than the next podcast topic, is current anime watching ranks. Start at the bottom as we always do. Fortress Macros. I just haven't seen any since then. Paul had to throttle it back a little bit, so I'm going to get back to him. I'm going to watch it probably next weekend. I'll watch some more of that. I'm going to try to fit it in at least one this month. He's been good to me, so I was just going to throw him a bone, right? But probably next week, so like by next podcast I'll see more of it. But I enjoyed it. It's just at the bottom because I just haven't seen it lately. JoJo is next. It's here because I'm tired of them doing the gross out shit. Can we stop being so effing disgusting on this show, man? Like, you're nasty. You're nasty, and the body horror shit is nasty. Just stop it. We got pigs licking assholes. We've got pustules growing out of hands and talking shit and having little mustaches, and it's just the body horror is off the chain, man. We got people throwing up and pissing all over themselves, and people laughing at people pissing on themselves, and we're inside the brain, turning the brain into hamburger. Like, that dude's probably got dementia now, man. We got parasites and brain worms and sweat and just you're disgusting. You, sir, show JoJo's bizarre, disgusting ass adventures. You disgust me. So that's all I'm gonna say. Still good entertainment. But you're disgusting, you're nasty, you need to go home and think about your choices. And stop it. Just stop it. And then maybe I'll watch more than 4 episodes a week. I was ready to throw up. I had to stop. Like, I was like, I'm done this week. I've seen enough. Like, I have to now time when I watch this shit to make sure I have the maximum amount of time from the last time I ate and the maximum amount of time until the next time I'm going to eat. And look at me, man. Do I look like somebody who goes like 15 hours between meals? No. I look like somebody who goes about 4 hours between meals. So you know how hard it is to time this shit where I got a lot of time between meals and put this nasty shit in dead center in between that? It's too much management, man. It's time management. I don't have a day planner. So it's hard to negotiate and Tetris this shit to where I don't throw up when I'm watching it. So stop being nasty. Damn, man, it's just, you're trifling. Next is Yu Yu. It's down here because the arc is just dragging. You know, it's where it was before. I just watched 6 episodes. It's not bad. Like, none of these are bad. Don't get it twisted. But, they're just dragging it out a little bit too much. I like to talk about JoJo real quick. Their enemies, they have 1 enemy per episode and then they're done with it. For the most part. Every now and then they'll do a double episode. It takes 2 episodes to get rid of an enemy. In Yu Yu, it seems to always take 2 episodes to get rid of one of these sons of bitches. At least these final fights, because these fights are going to be bigger probably. And I understand, it's the final round. And you want to make a meal of it. You want it to be a big deal. You've been leading up to this for a while, right? So, I get that. I think I'd rather be self-contained into 1 episode. That's all I'm saying. So that's where Yu Yu is. Bleach is next, and like I said before, it's going to keep dropping if they keep doing these damn long-ass training sessions, man. Long-ass poetry, monologue, dropping a thesis, manifesto, boring rant. Like, we're talking about some 4chan blog rant-ass, this, yes. Dumbo, the feather made you fly. You had it within yourself. The feather didn't make you fly, is what I'm trying to say. It was in you all along. You had it in yourself. So, we understand that. Did you really need to talk about it for 35 minutes while you were kicking my ass with this sword? That's Bleach right now. Like I said before, stop it. Just stop it. Apparently, according to D4C, they're not going to stop it. So, you're going to keep dropping. Boruto's next. It's not as good as it was before, but it's still pretty good. I'm enjoying it a lot. I love the last few episodes before the little side quest with the female protagonist. Now, that's a strong female character. She wasn't just a rage monster kicking everybody's ass. She was smart, intelligent, witty, used her wits and her intellect and her ability to manipulate situations. Everything I've been asked for. Yeah, I forgot about that. Like, she's a really good female character. Really strong. But that was last time. This time, Boruto's being a moron again. He's only 12, so we get it. But dumbass. It's fine. It's good. One Piece is next. And it's good. Like, we're finishing the Wano arc. I think the next batch of episodes I watch, I'm going to try to watch at least 5 to 8 of them. Hopefully the arc will be it feels like it will be finished. We're getting ready to have our party, and it doesn't last much long past the party at that point. So it should be finished pretty soon, I think. So that's doing good. Gintama is next, 3rd from the top, in 3rd place. You break the wall too much, the 4th wall. Other than that, you're super entertaining, funny as hell, and why else am I watching anime other than laugh? Primarily, like, yes, I do want to have deep thoughts. I want to think about shit. I want to feel bad for the characters. I want you to break my heart and make me cry every now and then. But for the most part, make me laugh. And they do. So they're number 3. Number 2, 7 Deadly Sins. They're as funny as Gintama, but they have a little bit of the heartbreak. They're breaking my heart. Our boy is evil right now. I don't like it. I'm watching some more. I'm probably going to finish season 3 this week coming up. Be interesting to see if our boy's still evil at the end of the season. I don't think he will be. But they may go full Angelus with this. Basically it's like Vampire Diaries where you turn off your humanity. You have the same personality. You just don't have the heart anymore. It's the exact same memories and thoughts. It's just you don't have the heart, right? So that's an interesting dynamic rather than being a different personality. Most shows and stories, when you turn evil, your personality changes. Angelus, his personality was the same. It was just elevated and he had no empathy, right? But he's the same person. He's still sarcastic. He's an intelligent, deep thinker, all that shit. He's got the anger issues, just like Angel does. He just controls himself better. And he's not evil, right? He has compassion. Whereas Angelus, everything's the same, it's just he has no compassion. Same here. Wrath has the same personality. He has the memories. And I think he even did a little bit where like he's holding back, where he probably would have killed somebody otherwise. But he knows him. He's friends with him, and he has fond memories of him. So he didn't kill him, but he doesn't have any empathy, so he could kill him, right, or hurt them really badly. So, but still, he seems to like Elizabeth specifically, right? So there's something going on there. I think she's going to bring him back. We'll see. But I think she's going to bring him back from the abyss, right? Do I think it's going to happen at the end of season 3? Stay tuned. If you're on Patreon, like I said before, that's one of the tier 1 things. You can do that as a free trial. But I'm going to probably finish the season this week. I'll make a prediction over there. But right now, I'm 50-50. I'm not sure, do I think that they're going to wrap this up in the season or not? They wrapped season 1 up pretty good, but will they keep doing that? They probably knew they were getting another season when they were writing this. I think they're going to carry it over. This feels like a storyline that you just don't have enough time to wrap up this season. But we'll see. But anyway, point being, love it. And, really enjoying it right now. That's why it's number 2. Number 1, Fate Zero. Man, they are really setting up some good shit here. This is the prequel series to Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works. What a mouthful of a title that is. It's a prequel series of that. And what's interesting is you got 7 people fighting each other. All 7 of them are scary as hell and intimidating in their own ways. I don't know who the hell's going to win. We have multiple protagonists. Anybody can win. I don't think anybody wins enough to where they get the Grail, if I remember because we already know what happens here. Because this is a prequel. But there's a lot that we didn't know, right? That we're finding out about. So I don't think anybody's going to win. But you could have a limited victory. So who's going to have a limited victory here? I don't know. But it's very intriguing because everybody's scary and everybody's dangerous. That wasn't the case with the original series. You had 2 people that were scary, maybe 3, and the rest of them I didn't really respect. Here, I respect all 7. So that's the show I'm liking the most because it's so balanced. I don't know what the hell's going to happen. There's so much going on, man, and so many interesting characters, and everybody's equal levels of intimidating and scary and thrilling and exciting. So, great series if you like fighting and that kind of stuff. It's not really deep on the emotions and feelings and no romance this time, unlike last time. It's just balls to the wall action and adventure and, shenanigans. So, loving that. Now, I will have started watching Steins Gate Zero. The hell's that other show called? Anyway, it's a sequel series of Steins Gate, which I think is a prequel. I'm not sure. Gate Zero, whatever the hell it's called. I will have started watching that by the time we do this in 2 weeks, so that will be my 9th anime I'm watching at once. Let me see. 10th. Jesus. Yeah, that will be number 10 that I'll be watching. Jesus, man, that's a lot of anime. Well, I'm about to run out of One Piece, so there we go. So, all right, well, that's it for the rankings. Like I said, there'll be 10 I'll be ranking in 2 weeks. We'll see how that goes. All right, for the next podcast topic, we've talked about the choices before, and I'll do a poll, but so basically what I'm looking for from you now, think of an anime topic that I haven't brought up yet, and I'll put it on the poll. So, otherwise, I'll just come up with my own lame shit, like, deep dive into the school anime genre. That only got 4% of the vote. That's going to be on there next time unless you suggest something. So get your ass in the comments and suggest some shit, and then we'll put it up for the vote. And if it wins the vote, I'll be talking about it in 2 weeks. Also, regardless of that, let me know in the comments what you think about doing a continuing series of other inadvertent lessons we've learned from anime besides just the women thing. Because that was just one thing. And I talked about that shit for over a half hour, right? So I can do a dive, but there's a bunch of other shit I could talk about, right? So, especially male characters. What are we doing with male characters? There's a lot we can talk about there. So let me know if you want this to be a continuing series, and I'll do it every now and then. So, all right, well, feel like I've talked enough, and this is going to be late enough as it is. It's 7:42 as I finish saying this.